hand that over to you. Actually, I'll just close when we do a couple of questions. So, do you want to call on folks, or do you want me to? All right.
You said Charlie.
Too many Charlie.
I keep on reading where private sector jobs are leaving the state. What would you do to make it a better climate for private sector jobs to be here and maybe attract jobs?
That's true, and I mean, my viewpoint from where I come from is that definitely it starts and begins with a healthy business climate. As long as we're a competitive free market economy, businesses do have a decision on where they expand and where they relocate. So as I get out there and talk to small business owners, certainly reducing some of the mandates and the regulations that are there. But every time I talk to a business, it's unbelievable how much they face. Things like a person that I met, college graduate, knows what they're doing. They had to hire a payroll service to manage all the rules and regulations around their 2 employees. So we need to, again, no doubt, no problem. I mean, Charlie Baker, I was at an event with him the other day. You have to have a permit to have a permit in this Commonwealth to get a job and to run a business. So we got to take, again, the hard look, every line item, look at those things, where does it make sense, make sure we're not putting too many mandates. Every time we tweak a health care bill, if we want to say that we're going to go with the gambling bill, but because we know that there are some issues, social ills of gambling addiction, that now every single health care policy in Massachusetts has to have gambling addiction coverage in it? Don't laugh. I'm not making this up, folks. That is a seriously unfunded mandate on every business, every corporation, and, oh, by the way, every town that provides health care. So things like those are basic ideas that I want to start with. Taking a business-friendly approach, they're the ones that help provide the revenue, the tax dollars that help us provide the key services that we need.
Yes.
Another Charlie.
Sorry. Your opponent said that she enjoyed reading legislation. I was going to ask her whether she read the national health care legislation and whether she enjoyed that. Since I didn't have the chance to ask that of her, I'll ask you, what do you think of the national health care
bill? I was definitely against that. I think I took the same approach as a lot of other people. It's not good for Massachusetts. There was so much in there. Let's go back to a year ago, right? That's what got you guys going for the most part. The Tea Party was just getting ramped up last summer, and a lot of it was, where are the town hall meetings? The Congress wanted to pass that bill before their August recess. So I was against that. I will say right here, I am in favor of the idea that we have in Massachusetts. We do have the attempt at coverage for everyone. I want that to be private insurance coverage as much as possible. When we are providing any subsidies, we have to have that be managed health care. We have to have strings attached, if you will, to do it in a smart way. So I am in favor of that. I've had issues with my family, we all have, where you don't have the insurance coverage that you need to get proper health care. But what we have to do in this state, they never address the cost side. We got to get all the people to the table, find out where those costs are. We know where some of them are, the way we manage the healthcare system in this state, the mandates, not allowing towns to design their own healthcare coverage without union consent, and so forth. Am I done?
No. Bill, saying you're about to tackle me.
Oh, this is going to be 3 questions.
Ms. Benson mentioned the federal mandate regarding illegal aliens, some of the services that must be provided. I personally think that the federal government is riding roughshod over the 10th Amendment. My question to you is do you think that there's any chance in the state legislature to begin some kind of a move to bring a 10th Amendment suit against the federal government? What do you think about those issues?
Well, in my viewpoint, as a smaller government kind of guy, definitely it's as if the 10th Amendment doesn't really exist in this nation. So I would be in favor of Massachusetts would be an unlikely place to start this kind of a move, but we've already seen that Massachusetts can do some pretty amazing things with their vote. So there's a lot of areas that I would be in support of exploring. How do we work with or against the federal government, if you will, in some of the mandates that do come down on us? But it's certainly, that's a big challenge, but we can do what, as state legislators, we can at least voice our opinions, and we can take some votes on, we want to have the sovereignty, we want to refer to the 10th Amendment on a lot of issues. But it's a tough one. You definitely have to have the cooperation of them at the federal government, who often have the purse strings tied to everything that you will or won't do as a state. Okay.
You're a business guy. I heard
Yes.
somebody broach on unions, so let me predicate my question with, it's the leadership that I condemn for getting these pie-in-the-sky promises, and now they can't be fulfilled. We're watching Governor Chris Christie right now. A lot of us are just, oh, wow.
There's the question.
What is your opinion?
Thank you.
My opinion on...
Chris Christie, how he's handling the unions. He's going like a lion.
The main thing about the unions is we do a lot in this state that just, again, when people hear about it, they start giggling, and it's like, we're serious, right? We have these project labor agreements. 95% of the large construction projects done by the state of Massachusetts are mandated to be worked by unions. We'll only have 20% of the workers. So right there you have a serious discrimination issue. The state is forcing these jobs to be done by union workers, locking out private businesses who can, yes, they need to be managed like anybody else, but the union issues in this state are a lot of why we have our serious budget problems. When we just mandate that unions have to do these jobs, not private sector, the Pacheco law, I'm from New Mexico, so it's Pacheco, I don't know if it's Pacheco around here, but you know, there's one that does not allow, like we do in the business world, if it's not your core competency, you can farm out delivering the actual service, but make sure the state, you know, keeps track of that it's done well. But right now we just force these things to all be done by the private sector. So that's kind of my view on the union issue. It is part of the budget problems that we have. Trying really hard.
Yeah, nobody gets...
I'm a guy who believes that one of the biggest issues is illegal immigration. Illegal aliens is a huge burden on the state and on our children and grandchildren. And we've been burned by Republicans and Democrats. We had a president for 8 years who believed that cheap labor was the best thing we could do for the country and turn a blind eye to it. What are you going to do to make Massachusetts, if anything, a non-magnet for illegal aliens?
Well, to do that is we do need to codify laws that don't just say, well, we're not allowing that specifically, but we need to make sure we codify laws that say we're going to check and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, the legislation's out there. We have to see where it finally ends up. And then, you know, part of it is setting those laws to enforce it, and again, working with the federal level. But part of not being a magnet is making sure we don't provide the ability to get into these things. So I just